Cancer. There is a phone somewhere that is about to be picked up by someone who has been hesitating to make a call for some time. The hesitation has not been about whether to call you. The decision to call has been settled. The hesitation has been about when, about how, about whether the conditions on their side are right for the call to land well. I want to walk you through what has been happening in this person slowly, because the call that is approaching is not a casual call. It is a call that has been forming through a particular interior process, and understanding the process will help you receive the call with the attention it deserves when it actually rings. The person who is going to call you has been carrying a wish to talk to you for longer than you may realize. The wish has been quiet. It has surfaced at moments when they had time alone, when their other obligations were resolved enough that the underlying current of their attention could be felt. In those moments, you have come into their awareness with a particular insistence. They have wanted to reach for the phone. They have stopped themselves, sometimes, because the moment did not feel quite right. The not feeling right has had various reasons. Sometimes the timing was off because of their own external circumstances. Sometimes the timing was off because they were not yet certain what they wanted to say. Sometimes the timing was off for reasons they could not name. The reasons have been real, even when they were not articulable. The stopping has been an act of respect, both for you and for what they wanted the call to be. I want to address what the call will involve, because the call is going to be substantive. It is not going to be a brief check-in that ends after a few minutes of pleasantries. It is going to be the kind of call where one of you says something and the other responds in a way that opens up a longer conversation, and the longer conversation takes you both somewhere that neither of you had been when the call began. The opening of the longer conversation is the heart of what the call is for. The person calling has things to say that they cannot say through other channels. They need the call format, with the voice, with the real-time exchange, with the ability to respond to your tone in the moment, because the substance of what they want to communicate cannot be carried adequately by text or by message. I want to mention what kind of substance we are talking about. The substance involves feelings that they have been holding. The feelings have been held for various reasons, some of which were appropriate at the time the holding began. The holding is no longer serving them. They need to express what they have been holding, and they have chosen you as the person who will hear the expression. The choice of you is not random. They have considered carefully who would be the right person for this kind of communication, and they have arrived at you. The arrival reflects something they have come to understand about you and about the relationship between you. The understanding is part of what gives the call its weight. I want to take a moment to address you, because you are about to be on the receiving end of this call. There may be a part of you that has been hoping for the call without fully naming the hope. The hoping may have been quiet, surfacing only at certain moments, when you allowed yourself to register that something was missing in your daily flow of communications. The missing has been the absence of this specific voice with this specific quality of attention in your regular life. You have been aware of the missing, even if you have not been articulating it explicitly. The call that is approaching is the answer to the missing. I want to share something specific about the moment of the call itself. The call will not arrive at a moment that you have predicted. It will arrive in the ordinary flow of one of your days. Perhaps when you are doing something that does not feel particularly significant. Perhaps when you are in a state of mind that you would not have considered ideal for receiving such a call. The not having predicted is one of the features of how these calls actually arrive. They do not wait for ideal conditions. They arrive when the conditions on the caller's side are sufficiently right, regardless of where you happen to be in your own day. I want to address how you should handle the call when it comes. The first instinct may be to put on a particular voice, to perform a version of yourself that you think is appropriate for the magnitude of the call. I would gently suggest against this. The person calling wants to talk to the actual you, not to a performed version. Whatever your real state is when the phone rings, allow it to be present in the call. If you are tired, your tiredness can be in the call. If you are happy about something else, your happiness can be in the call. The authenticity of your state will produce a better conversation than a performed composure would produce. They are calling to talk to a real person. Be the real person. I want to mention something about the early seconds of the call. There may be a moment, just after you answer, when the texture of the conversation indicates that this is not a routine call. The person on the other end may take a breath before starting to speak. They may use a tone of voice that is different from how they have spoken to you in the recent past. They may begin with something that signals, in a small way, that the conversation about to follow has substance. The signals will be subtle. Notice them. The noticing will help you adjust your own engagement to match the weight of the conversation. The matching will allow the conversation to develop in the direction it is meant to develop. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to slow down here because I sense that the approach of this call may be producing in you a particular kind of anticipation, and I want to address the anticipation directly. Anticipation that is held too tightly can produce strain. Strain can affect the quality of the eventual call. Anticipation that is held too loosely can produce a state of being not quite present when the call arrives. The middle position is what serves you best. Hold the awareness that the call is approaching without making the awareness occupy too much of your attention. Continue your ordinary life. The call will find you. You do not need to be in a special state of preparation for the call to land well. You only need to be in your ordinary state of being yourself. I want to share what I am sensing about the timing. The call is closer than your skepticism would estimate. I cannot give you a specific day, but the energy is active. You may want to live in the coming days with a slight extra openness to your phone, to the possibility that any incoming call may be the one. The openness is not anxious watching. It is just a slight extra awareness that the call could occur within the ordinary flow of your days. The slight extra awareness will help you receive the call as a meaningful event rather than letting it pass as just another phone call. I want to mention something about what the call will likely produce in you emotionally. There will probably be a stretch of strong feeling. The feeling may include joy, relief, surprise, or some complex combination of these. There may also be tears, even tears that surprise you with their suddenness. The tears are appropriate to what is occurring. Allow them. They are the body's response to receiving substantial emotional communication after a period of not having received it. The body has been waiting, in some way, for the call. The arrival activates the waiting. The tears are the release of the waiting. I want to address what kinds of things may be said during the call. The caller may articulate things they have wanted to say for some time. They may apologize for something that has been unresolved. They may express appreciation that they have been wanting to express. They may share information that changes how you understand something that happened between you. They may ask for something specific, or they may simply want to reestablish the quality of contact that has been missing. The specific content will be specific to your situation and to the relationship between you and this person. The content will be substantive, regardless of its specific form. I want to share an orientation about how to respond during the call. Listen more than you speak in the early part of the call. The caller has things to say, and the saying will go better if you allow space for it. Your responses do not need to be elaborate. Brief acknowledgments are often sufficient. The caller will know that you are listening if you allow the listening to be evident. Later in the call, as the substance has been shared, your own contributions can become more substantial. The natural rhythm of the call will guide when your turn comes to speak more fully. Trust the rhythm, it will be present. I want to mention something specific about the question of whether to make plans during the call. There may be an impulse in the moment of the call to immediately translate what is being shared into specific arrangements, to plan to meet, to schedule a follow-up, to make commitments that respond to what has been communicated. I would gently suggest that you not commit to specifics too quickly. The substance of the call can be received in the moment without requiring immediate practical action. Specific arrangements can be made later after both of you have had time to integrate what was shared during the call. Premature arrangements often produce results that one or both of you later wish to revise. Letting the integration occur before the arranging tends to produce more sustainable arrangements. I want to share something about the period right after the call ends. There will probably be a stretch of time, perhaps an hour or several hours, during which you are processing what occurred. The processing is its own work. You do not need to do anything else during this period. Allow yourself the space to absorb what was said. You may want to take a walk or sit quietly or do something simple that occupies your hands without requiring focused thought. These activities allow the processing to occur in the background while you give your conscious mind some relief. The processing will produce, in its own time, clearer understanding of what the call meant and what you want to do with what was shared. I want to address a possible response that may arise after the call. There may be a part of you that wants to immediately call back, to add things you didn't say during the first call, to follow up with thoughts that occurred to you after hanging up. The impulse is understandable. I would suggest, however, that you not act on it immediately. The first call has its own integrity. Adding to it too quickly can produce a kind of over-engagement that complicates the integration. Allow the first call to be what it was. If there are additional things you want to communicate, they can come in a later call, in their own appropriate moment. The pacing will serve the developing communication. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to share an observation about calls of this kind. They tend to mark transitions. After the call, the relationship between you and the caller will not be exactly what it was before. The shift may be subtle or substantial, but it will be real. The shift is one of the gifts of significant communication. It allows the relationship to develop in directions that were not available while certain things were unsaid. The unsaid things, once said, change the field of what is possible between two people. The new field is the territory you will be navigating in the period that follows the call. I want to mention something about what you may want to say to the caller if the call creates an opening for you to express your own substance. You have things you have been holding too. The call may be an opportunity to release some of what you have been holding. The releasing does not have to happen all at once. You can share what feels appropriate to share in the moment of the call while keeping other things for later conversations. The pacing is yours to set. The caller will be receptive to whatever you choose to share. They are not approaching this as a one-sided exchange. They are approaching it with the expectation that you will also have things to express, and they are prepared to receive what you offer. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the work you have done that has produced the conditions in which this call becomes possible. The work has been substantial. It has included the maintenance of your own dignity through periods when the communication you wanted was not available. It has included the development of your own life in ways that do not depend on this specific person. It has included the cultivation of patience, the kind that allows things to occur in their own time without forcing them. All of this work has produced the version of you who is now ready to receive the call. The readiness is real. It is not a state of vulnerability waiting for rescue. It is a state of completeness that can engage with the call from a position of equanimity. I want to share something about how this call fits into the larger arc of your life. You are in a phase where various dimensions of your existence are coming into clearer focus. Communications that have been pending are completing. Relationships that have been ambiguous are clarifying. Possibilities that have been blocked are opening. The call that is approaching is one expression of this larger phase. Other expressions are also occurring in their own forms. The cumulative effect over the coming period will be a life that has more coherence, more flow, more alignment with who you actually are. The alignment is the deeper movement. The call is one of its visible markers. I want to mention something about how to handle the day or two after the call. You may experience a kind of soft afterglow where the warmth of the call continues to reverberate in your awareness. You may also experience some uncertainty about how to proceed in the relationship now that the call has occurred. Both are normal. The afterglow is a real thing, and you can allow it without analyzing it too much. The uncertainty is also a real thing, and you can hold it without rushing to resolve it. Some uncertainties resolve through subsequent events, others resolve through your own reflection. Either way, you do not need to force resolution in the immediate aftermath of the call. The resolution will come. I want to address a possible concern. There may be a part of you that wonders if the call will actually happen, or if you are setting yourself up for disappointment by allowing yourself to anticipate it. The concern is reasonable. I want to address it directly. The energy I am sensing is clear. A call is coming from a person who has been preparing to make it. The timing is within a near future window. The specific day cannot be predicted, but the underlying event is reliable. You can allow yourself to anticipate without anxiety. The anticipation does not produce the event. The event is being produced by the caller's own process. Your job is simply to be available to receive the call when it arrives. I want to share an orientation about your relationship to the phone in the period of approach. Do not stare at the phone waiting for it to ring. Do not check it compulsively. The waiting and the checking can produce a strain that compromises your equilibrium. Instead, let the phone be the ordinary object it is. Live your life. The phone will ring when it rings. You will pick it up when it does. The picking up does not require the prior watching. The prior watching tends to make the eventual call more loaded than it needs to be. Lightness is better. Lightness produces the conditions for the call to land naturally rather than as a heavily weighted event. I want to mention something specific about who this person is in case it helps you recognize what is happening. The person calling is someone who has thought carefully about you over a period of time. They are someone whose communication, when it comes, will be measured and considered. They are not impulsive in matters of this kind. The call will reflect this measured quality. Their voice will have a particular steadiness. Their words will be chosen with care. The care is part of what makes the call meaningful. It is the care of someone who has decided that this conversation matters and who is treating it accordingly. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to share what I think is the most important framing for you to hold. The call that is approaching is not a test. You are not being asked to perform in some way to earn what is being offered. You are being approached because you are valued by the person approaching in your actual form, with your actual qualities. Your job is not to be impressive during the call. Your job is to be present. Presence is what the call requires. Presence is what you have to offer. The combination of the caller's care and your presence will produce the conversation that the situation calls for. I want to address something specific about what may happen if the call goes well. After a call that goes well, both of you will probably want to continue the conversation in some form. This may produce additional calls or meetings or other forms of communication in the period that follows. The continuation is part of how the relationship moves into its next configuration. The continuation does not need to be rushed. You can let it develop at the pace that suits both of you. The pace will be different from what either of you imagined in advance, but it will be the right pace for what is actually occurring between you. I want to share something about what may happen if the call is more complicated than you anticipate. Some calls of this kind contain elements that are challenging as well as elements that are warming. The caller may share something that you are not entirely ready to receive. They may express a need or a desire that does not match where you are. Both of these are possibilities. If something challenging arises, you do not need to handle it perfectly in the moment of the call. You can acknowledge what you have heard while reserving the right to respond more fully after some thought. The reserving is a form of integrity. It honors both your need to process and the seriousness of what has been communicated. I want to mention something about the role of voice in calls of this kind. The voice carries information that text cannot. The texture of how something is said, the small hesitations, the warmth or coolness of tone, the way silences are held, all of these communicate substance beyond the words themselves. During the call, Pay attention to the voice. Let yourself hear not just what is being said, but how it is being said. The how will tell you a great deal about what the caller is actually feeling. You can use the information to inform your own response. The information will be more accurate than any inference you could make from words alone. I want to take a moment to acknowledge what this call represents in the larger context of your relationships. Significant calls do not happen in every relationship. Many relationships consist primarily of routine exchanges that do not involve the kind of substantive communication this call will involve. The fact that a call of this nature is approaching tells you something about the depth of the connection between you and the caller. The depth has been forming in both of you over the period during which the connection has existed. The depth is now reaching the point where it expresses itself in this kind of communication. The expression is one of the markers of relationships that have substance. You are in such a relationship. The substance is real. I want to share an orientation about how to think about the call in the days before it arrives. Do not rehearse what you might say. Rehearsing can produce stilted speech in the actual call. Instead, let yourself reflect on the relationship in general. What has this person meant in your life? What have you appreciated about them? What have you wished for in the relationship? These reflections are different from rehearsals. They do not produce specific lines. They produce a kind of orientation that will inform how you engage in the call without making the engagement feel scripted. The orientation will be available to you when you need it. I want to mention something about a small practice that may serve you. Notice in the days before the call what you are feeling about the person who is calling. The feelings may be complex. There may be warmth, affection, perhaps some lingering uncertainty or hurt. Allow all of the feelings to be present without trying to resolve them in advance. The presence of the full range of feelings will help you bring your real response to the call rather than a curated version of it. The real response is what the call needs. The real response is what will produce the kind of conversation that matters. I want to address what may surprise you during the call. The caller may say something you had not expected. They may reveal something about themselves that you did not know. They may articulate a perception of you that differs from your own perception. These surprises are part of what makes the call substantive. They open new territory between you. You can receive the surprises with openness, allowing them to inform your understanding without immediately reacting. The receiving will produce a richer call than a more defended posture would produce. I want to share something about a particular moment that may occur during the call. There may be a moment of silence somewhere in the conversation that is longer than ordinary silences. The silence may feel charged, as if both of you are aware that something significant is being held in it. Do not rush to fill the silence. The silence is doing work. It is allowing what has been said to settle. It is creating space for what wants to be said next. The honoring of the silence is one of the practices of conversations that matter. You can honor it. The honoring will deepen the call. You are about to receive a call that has been forming for some time. The call will be one of the more meaningful communications you have received in the recent period. Receive it with the openness it deserves. Allow yourself to be moved by what is shared. Respond from your own truth. The combination of openness and truth is what produces conversations that contribute to the long arc of a relationship. You have what is required to engage in this way. The engagement will be sufficient. The sufficient will produce, in time, the next phase of what is between you and this person. I want to leave you with a particular emphasis. The call is real. The caller's care is real. The substance of what will be communicated is real. You can trust the reality of what is approaching. Your job is not to verify in advance. Your job is to be available when it arrives. The availability is enough. The rest will be provided. Walk into the next stretch of your days with the awareness that a meaningful call is approaching and with the willingness to receive it whenever it comes. The awareness is gentle. The willingness is uncomplicated. Both are within your capacity. The capacity is enough. The receiving will produce what the receiving needs to produce. The producing is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is only the receiving. Here on Cancer Tarot, the closing orientation I want to leave with you is this. You are someone whose communications matter. The fact that this person is preparing to call you is one piece of evidence of that. Other pieces are also present in your life, in forms you may not always recognize. The cumulative evidence is that you are well regarded by the people who know you, and that your relationships have substance. You can hold this knowledge as you walk into the period of approach to the call. The knowledge is true. The truth of it will sustain you through the receiving of the call and through whatever comes after. You are not alone in your life. The call that is approaching is one expression of the connection that exists between you and another person. Other connections also exist. The web of your relationships is wider and more substantial than you may sometimes recognize. The web holds you, even when individual strands of it are quieter than others. The holding is real. The reality of the holding is part of the foundation from which you receive what comes to you. The call is coming. You will recognize it when it rings. The recognition will guide what you do next. The guiding will be reliable. The reliability comes from the work you have done to be the person you are. The person you are is well equipped to receive what is approaching. The equipment is in you. It will be activated by the moment when the moment arrives. Trust the timing, trust the caller, trust yourself most of all. The trusting is the foundation of everything that will unfold. From the foundation, the right responses will emerge. The right responses will produce the right next steps. The right next steps will lead to the deepening of what is between you and the caller, in whatever form the deepening is meant to take. The form will reveal itself. You do not need to specify it in advance. You are ready. The readiness is in you. The call will activate it. The activation will produce the conversation. The conversation will produce the next phase. The next phase will be good. The going forward is yours. Walk into it with the calm of someone who knows that what is approaching is welcome and that they have the capacity to receive it well. The capacity is real. The welcome is real. The approach is real. All of it is approaching. You are exactly where you need to be in relation to it. Stand here. Continue your life. The phone will ring. You will answer. The conversation will unfold. The unfolding is what your days have been preparing you for, even without your knowing. The preparation is complete enough. The rest will be added in the moment. You will have what you need when you need it. This is reliable. This is yours. This is approaching now. Receive the call when it comes. Receive it with the presence you have developed. Receive it with the openness that the relationship deserves. Receive it knowing that you are valued by the person calling, and that the call is one expression of that valuing. The valuing is real. The receiving will deepen it. The deepening will be the gift, beyond just the specific content of the conversation. Welcome the gift. It is yours.